Hello, Ishita, Smriti, Garima. A very warm welcome again to Uprashtrapati Niwas. I'm Reeni. I'm a media officer to the Vice President and I'm a 2019 batch officer of the Indian Information Service. So earlier today, you called on the Honorable Vice President. What was that experience like? So Ishita, why don't we start with you?
Ma'am, I think it was a very enriching experience, and especially at such a cherished occasion to gather here with our families and with respected Honorable Vice President Sir. And I think just by being around him, we learned so much from him.
Smriti?
Ma'am, it was a very unexpectedly, it was very warm and it was very informal in nature. He actually taught us in that short span of time. He actually taught us so many little things, and I think it was an experience to cherish forever. A very sweet experience, ma'am.
I'm glad. Garima, just adding to this question a little, what would be one takeaway from this interaction? Anything that Sir said that specifically struck a chord with you?
One thing that I specifically remember is Sir said that no matter where in the ladder you reach, always remain humble. And I think that is one takeaway that I would really like to take home today.
Thank you. So there are 3 headlines that I'll just bring up. Women bag top 4 ranks in civil services exam. 4 out of 5 toppers are women. 4 female candidates secure top 5 positions. So these were some of the headlines that followed the merit list. So how do you think this portrays your success, or rather what were the thoughts that flashed across your mind when you hear it phrased in this particular manner? Smriti?
Ma'am, one is it is very, in general it is a very pleasant thing or a positive thing to say.
Do you want Ishita or Garima to join you? Yes, please.
So,
I think it's a great feeling, and it's a very proud moment for the entire country, including myself, to see my name followed by Garima's name, followed by Uma's name, and then Smriti. And it was very exciting to see girls at the top. I hope this creates that kind of a social impact for change and that ripple effect in society, where until the last village, parents are encouraging their girls. So I felt very happy and very proud.
Garima,
I think it's just a stepping stone, and I really want to see a world in which this does not become a breaking news anymore. It becomes the norm that women are topping every examination and are coming forward in terms of representation in all the political and economic spheres.
Right. Thank you. I think that was very well put. So all of you are alumni of Delhi University, and as a fellow alumna of DU, I would like to know how you feel your college experience has shaped you and has prepared you in terms of facing what lies ahead. Garima?
Ma'am, I think coming from small towns and all towns of India, Delhi University provides an excellent platform and excellent exposure. I remember coming in Delhi University and coming to know about the different career options. Being a part of the multiple societies like the debating society, for example, it opens you up as a person and really helps you shape your personality and make you capable to take decisions for yourself. So I think in that manner, it's really enriching.
So Garima mentioned debating society. Anything specific from your college life that you think made a difference to you, Ishita?
Yes, ma'am, the kind of entrepreneurial environment in Sri Ram College of Commerce, the kind of autonomy and agency they give to their students. We used to run our societies. I remember I was secretary of the Commerce Society, and the kind of freedom we had with raising funds, sponsorships, conducting events, and inviting honorable guests to our events. So I think that really shapes us and gives us that exposure and that leadership opportunity, and I think that really shaped me to a long extent.
That's very true. Smriti, what about you? Any specific experience from college that stands out for you?
yes, ma'am, I was in Miranda House and I was the cultural secretary of my department as well as the editor of my college department magazine.
Right.
So one, it did shape my, it did actually help me get into this reading stuff, a lot of it. So I actually picked up a lot of ideas which are generally not there in mainstream media or social media. It also enriched me as a person, and at the same time it did, as Ishita mentioned, that it did gives you that agency or that confidence to go out there, talk to people and organize events. We were just 18-year-old kids and handling these responsibilities, so it was a big deal, and coming from small towns, as Garima mentioned, it was a big deal, and I think that is the foundation that was built, and we actually capitalized on that.
I think that is very true, because at 18, what you said, we are just stepping out of a very cocooned, sheltered place and ready to take on the world. So what we get in those 3 years is just a sort of preparatory course into what we'll face going ahead. So Garima also mentioned the word career options, different career options. So I feel that there are multiple career choices that, especially in today's world, that we can pursue beyond our graduation or post-graduation. But even then, this particular role or this particular career has its own charm or social acceptance. So, Ishita, why do you think that is still the case?
I think in a developing country like India that is on path to now leading the world, the role of bureaucrats and administrators becomes very central in the last mile delivery of the public services. So I think going forward, I hope that by 2047 we have that kind of social equality in society wherein entrepreneurs, sports persons, administrators all contribute equally to the development of the country.
Right. And if not a civil servant, what would you have liked to have been? What other options would you have loved to consider?
Ma'am, I was studying law in Delhi University, so I would have gone into hardcore litigation and the trial advocacy, because that was what excited me a lot. And if not lawyer, I would have actually gone into journalism, because
great.
that's something that I think I will always regret not doing, and somehow I think I will do it.
I'm sure there
yes,
will be avenues where you can nurture that particular interest of
yes,
yours. Garima, what about you? Any particular career option that fascinated you?
While in college, I was pursuing chartered accountancy, but I
Right.
think something close to public speaking and something close to public interaction would have interested me more.
And I'm sure that you will get a lot of option to do, public interaction where you are headed. So now, we have seen your family members interact with the Vice President today. So what was their reaction like when they knew that there's a call on that they would also be attending? Were they excited about it, Ishita?
Absolutely, ma'am. My brother is also a graduate from Delhi University. He was in Hindu College and then CLC. So the moment he heard that the Chancellor of the university has invited us, we were completely thrilled. And for my mother, of course, she was very happy and proud that both her children are from Delhi University.
Garima, so I'm sure your family would have been a cornerstone for your success. So how do you think having the support of family, having them understand what we are going through makes a difference to the journey so far, the preparation part, which is probably one of the most uncertain and tumultuous periods of our life. So how do you think their understanding of you and of your difficulties makes a difference?
I think, ma'am, it's the life breath of your entire preparation. I could not have done it without the support of my family, especially my mother and my younger brother. I remember both of them keeping track of every minute I needed something and just not letting me waste one precious minute, and always supporting me even when I failed in my first prelims, not doubting my capabilities and always wishing the best for me. I think that is enough for a person who is preparing in this exam full of uncertainties.
Very true. So now we move a little, to a slightly different line of conversation. So do you think, given the headlines we just discussed earlier in the interview, do you think there's a difference in men and women in leadership positions? Ishita, we'll start with you.
Ma'am, I think it's more about the capabilities and credibility of the person, and we must not have that sort of a gendered lens. I think if a responsible person...
What Ishita said, I completely agree. But given the wider social perception, do you think there is still a difference in how women are seen in leadership roles vis-a-vis men? Garima, why don't we start with you?
Right, ma'am. I totally agree with what you're saying. Holding a leadership position is one thing, and effectively pursuing that leadership position and taking active decisions is one another thing. And we have seen this in a lot of third tier of government in our country. But moving forward, it's not only important that we expand the percentage of leadership, let's say in parliament, from 14% to even higher. But apart from that, it's also important that women themselves become and feel confident and capable in taking that active decisions, standing by it and implementing it on ground.
Right. So if we talk about, women themselves having the confidence to push forward, what do you think can actually help them gain this confidence?
There are two words, ma'am: financial independence, and that's something that women should have, because that is snatched right from when they complete their schooling, their early marriages, child marriages, early pregnancy. It's a whole vicious cycle. So it is very important to give agency to women by giving them financial independence, so skill development, vocational courses, and enrolling them in higher education. They drop out of job market even if the male member is earning. So that is very important, ma'am. Financial independence is one thing that women should strive towards.
Knowing that women are achieving great things in the public sphere at this point, and now it's no longer a question mark, it's a fact, it's a recognized and accepted fact. But while women are doing these astounding things in their workplace or in more prominent places, the traditional expectations from women in the domestic sphere continue to remain fairly in equilibrium. So what are your thoughts on this? As in, what I'm looking at is the idea of women as super women. The moment you become a career person, you have certain expectations and certain requirements that your job will demand from you, especially in the kind of positions that you are on the brink of. So how do you think these traditional expectations frame our ideas, or how we go ahead in deciding what we want to do? Garima, why don't we start with you?
Right, ma'am. I think from the very beginning we have been taught all of these gender stereotypes, and we have been put in that frame. But for the entire civilization and the country to move ahead, I think we should respect the amount of population percentage that we have. So male and female counterparts have to equally move ahead and push each other forward in this entire journey. So I think apart from giving women the financial independence, the inclusion, the literacy, I think it's the more effort is required on the side of men, so that they understand their counterparts and also are willing to give them a way ahead in life. So we see all of these days that paternity leaves are coming forward, and people are in general promoting and encouraging their daughters, their wives, and this is a bright picture to look forward to, and I'm sure and I'm very positive about it that in the upcoming years the scenario is going to change.
I'm so glad you brought this up, because I think the moment we go into questioning this line of thought, or we delve deeper into this conversation, we forget to think of the men who also support us in our roles. So I'm glad you brought that up. So we now go into a slightly different track.
To add, because Garima has brought up a beautiful point about care work. Ma'am, women nowadays, they have their careers, but they are now facing a dual burden. Not just their careers, but they still have that same responsibility at home. So I think if we can equally divide the simple daily chores that we have at home, and men can also come forward and take that responsibility, so they have the space to grow. They won't have to sacrifice their careers anymore. So I think Garima has rightly said that we all should take that burden forward, and this will be the face of a new India.
Thank you for bringing this up. I hope that men who watch this conversation will take a note. Thank you. So all of you are stepping into service at a very critical juncture. So we are all talking about Amrit Kal, and we have just completed 75 years. So now all eyes are on India at 100. So I would like to ask each of you, what is your vision of India at 100? We are all young people. We have certain ideas and certain dreams, but how do you look at the final picture that is likely to emerge in at the centenary of independence? Ishita?
Ma'am, I envision India at 100 to be not just an economic power. We are now the 5th largest economy. But also to have the rightful place in the Committee of Nations, at the international platforms. And now we are already seeing how India is increasing its worth and value and its words at the international sphere. But apart from that, coming to the domestic side, I hope that the public services, the basic public utilities reach the last mile, and nobody sleeps hungry. Nobody has to worry so much about a job. They have those equal opportunities, and human resource development is given the priority.
Wonderful. Smriti?
Ma'am, there are two specific set of things that I've been thinking since 2 years now.
Right.
And one is that we address the question of poverty at a very large scale, and that's not just economic poverty, as Ishita mentioned, but poverty of thought, poverty of beliefs, poverty of spirituality, all of that. I think we are able to address that. And secondly, we are able to achieve that balance. For example, balance between economic growth and environment, balance between science and spirituality. So a lot of that tussle goes on, and the society has certain cleavages. So I hope that we are able to address that in the coming years, and as a society, our social capital increases. That is my vision.
I'm very intrigued by this phrase you used, poverty of thought and poverty of belief. Could you tell me what is your idea of that?
Ma'am, a lot of times what happens is we see an idea on social media, and then that becomes our dominant thought. We read a newspaper and that becomes our dominant thought. So that critical thinking skills that we as Indians in the ancient times had, I think that element is somehow missing. So that is something that our university should also culture, that spirit of excellence that for example the Japanese are known for. I think when that culture needs to develop, that if an Indian has done certain thing, or if this is an Indian thought, it must be the best. So that is something that we need to address at a larger scale.
It's a very interesting perspective. Garima?
I would like I would envision India in such a manner that going 25 years, 50 years down the line, we still are not talking about each one teach one or feed one, but we are talking about each one empower one. Particularly we as the young batch of civil servants, each one of us can empower the most vulnerable starting from our offices, in our district. Right. And so that the most vulnerable rung of the society can feel empowered to take their own decisions, can feel capable and confident of being a part of a country that is soon going to become a global economic as well as international superpower.
Wonderful. So since Smriti mentioned that she's been thinking about this for 2 years, I'll start the next question with her. So if there's one particular area that is very close to your heart and you get a chance to work on that or push ahead with that in terms of the work you do at the field, what would that particular theme or area of work be?
Ma'am, the theme would be development of civic sense and solid waste management, and because I want my cities to have squeaky clean streets, and that is an area that I really want to work upon, because it overall improves the environment not just for humans but animals also. Right. So that is something that I really would want to work on.
Thank you. That's not something we think of right at the top of our heads. I'm glad you brought that up. Garima?
I think two fields would be very particular to me. One would be nutrition. We keep talking about hidden hunger, and I think we as smart citizens and responsible citizens going to sleep with a plate full of meal should think about it. And the second would definitely be strengthening the self-help groups for women, so that it provides them political, economic, even social empowerment. Right. These would be two areas.
Thank you. Ishita, what about you?
Ma'am, if there is an issue that really resonates with me, it would definitely be women empowerment, and I hope that women at the grassroots level, the rural level, the urban level, administration, corporate, sports, everywhere our women are able to achieve their potential, their hidden potential, their invisibility should now be visible, and I hope I get the opportunity to contribute to it.
Thank you for sharing that. So again, there has been a lot of media attention on you on the past few days. And I'm sure you've already answered a lot of questions about your journey and your preparation. So this is your chance to tell me something that we don't know yet. So what is that one facet of your personality that you would like to share, which you feel is not something that would fit into the usual mold of an aspiring civil servant? Any kind of hobby or interest that you would want everyone to know about, but they're not asking you about it. So, Garima?
I think, ma'am, I'm a big foodie. I stayed here for 20 days in Delhi while I was doing my mock interviews and thing. I used to go out and eat every day, I think 3-4 times a day. But now it has become difficult for me to go out and eat on that same pav bhaji stall, because people are coming and are asking me queries. So now I tell them that no, I am not Garima, just let me eat my pav bhaji and dabeli on time. That is one
So what
thing.
are the places you've explored here for food?
For Karol, I think I stayed here for 3 years in college as well, starting from the backside of my college, Chachi Di Hatti's Chole Bhature, then Sita Ram ke Chole Bhature.
I see nods of recognition.
These momos, I think everything, all the Vaishno chaat bhandars, golgappe, these are all my favorite.
I hope people watching again taking
Delhi is a heaven
note.
for me because it has a
true.
lot of good food.
So before I come back to your respective facets of personality, we continue the food question while we are at it. Ishita?
Absolutely love momos in Delhi, and there is no other place that you can get such good momos. Dolma Auntie's momos have been my
Lajpat.
favorite. Yeah,
Yes.
so we keep going back, we make that college group, and we definitely ensure that we do get our bite of that momos once
I'm
in
sure
a while.
college friends have their own place, especially where these kind of adventures are concerned. Smriti, still on the food question.
Mom, I loved having Maggie at Tom Uncle's. So I think more than the Maggie, the memories that we created
Right.
there. So it's a very nostalgic thing to go there. Yes, ma'am.
So I love how the things you have mentioned have not changed from when I was in college to when all of you have been in college, which are again very different years. But I love that, you know, food is one thing that still binds all of us together. Yes. So yes, we've talked about her personality. Now we come to both of you. Smriti?
Ma'am, it is very difficult for me to. So there are two things, ma'am. When I'm working, I'm working. That's one aspect of my personality. But other than that, to remain, there's a perception that all bureaucrats have to maintain that you have to be very serious, and there'll be background reels with all those music with all of that. So I do not match that at all, and it has been very difficult for me to hold up that facet, to maintain that. So there's a certain expectation also that people have, because I am a very fun person too. So it's that aspect I think is missing, but I think it's a legit expectation. So that's something I'm struggling with also.
No, I think that's a great thing. Please never lose the fun part of you, which you say, because there will be a lot of, you know, roller coasters going ahead, but I think that is one thing that keeps us all afloat. So I hope you continue to stay that way. Ishita, what about you?
Ma'am, usually when someone thinks of an aspirant for civil services, they imagine someone studying 16 hours, 17 hours. But I just want to convey that I have been someone who has not been entirely with the books. I have also been a sports person. I have also cultivated my interests in painting. So I was always trying to cultivate a hobby in the last 3 years of my preparation also.
Right.
So that we don't stay limited to our books, we should have that holistic experience of life as well.
Very true.
So that is my 2 cents.
What are your, what are the sports you play? What do you enjoy?
Ma'am, back in school, I played the national level Subroto Cup for football.
Wonderful, okay.
And I've also played basketball. I keep changing those sports every now and then. And coming from a Bihari family, we've always inculcated about the learnings about Madhubani paintings.
Oh, yes.
So that is also something that I grew up with.
Do you still, indulge in that once in a while, the painting?
Yes, ma'am. I think it provides a very meditative environment because it's so intricate and
Right,
detailed
right.
that apart from my preparation, I felt that I had a space where I could just spend peacefully some time.
That is great. I think we all need something to fall back on, and not just during preparation, but throughout life. So yes, I think that's great. So we are talking about these things today, and I'm sure life will happen, and a lot of different things will keep happening. In the next 5 years, if I meet you, 5 years down the line, I'm sure you'll have a lot of very interesting anecdotes to tell me. So what kind of challenges or opportunities do you think you are going to encounter in the next 5 years? Like, what is your idea of what is immediately ahead, standing where you are right now? Smriti?
Ma'am, one is dealing with a lot of different viewpoints. It's not necessarily that all are wrong, but there is a certain thing that you have to say no to people, or because it is very, especially for a woman candidate or a woman civil servant, I think saying no is something that I will have to learn, and I think I will learn that during my training.
I'm sure you're just getting started, so
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sure you will. Garima?
Ma'am, I think the world is moving very fast. The changes are taking place at a rapid pace, and for governance to be effective, it has to have a vision ahead of the changes taking place. So to be constantly in touch with all of those changes and to keep ourselves updated at the feet would be a challenging task, but I would definitely love to do that.
Right. I think that is what makes it all the more
Exciting.
exciting. So yes, there's a lot lying ahead. Ishita, what about you?
Similarly, I think that as we are moving to a digital India and the democratization of technology, so one is the kind of media attention and the quickly, in the last 10 days we have faced that how quickly small words that we say, so just trying to be aware of it and understanding how to manage it. And secondly would be to use this digital platform to reach everyone. So I think learning about technology is also going to be very important and how we can use it.
Right. And how quickly you adapt to technological changes, as Garima mentioned. So thank you for having this conversation with me and for sharing this. And all of you are just getting started. So there will be challenges and opportunities like we discussed, but that is exactly what makes it exciting. So all the best to all of you going ahead.
Thank you, ma'am.
Wishing you the best.
Ma'am, one question.
Yes.
Ma'am, you've been in service for so many years. If there's one piece of advice for administration or one principle that we must, as youngsters, always stand by.
As women officers that we should follow.
So, you know, this is interesting. Women officers, I'll take that first. I think our aim should be to be known as officers, and we need to get to a point where people do not, you know, acknowledge us separately as women officers, and that is also one of the greatest challenges and opportunities, because you need to go to a point where you prove your worth, at a point where that will not be questioned anymore, so that you are an officer, you are known for your excellence, not by your gender. And I think
that is something I would also, I think we missed this on, but women have to work extra hard to get to that point where they're recognized as just officers and not women officers.
Right. I think, yes, we work extra hard possibly because of what we were discussing, that there's poverty of thought, maybe to use your phrase. There is still that expectation or a gap in the traditional outlook and what all of us are actually proving on a day-to-day basis. So I think as we go ahead, possibly, as we said, India at 100, you will see, and I genuinely hope we all see, a very different outlook to women, whether as officers or, you know, in their respective fields. And I think, Ishita, when you talk about, you know, one takeaway, take it as it comes, because the moment we think very far ahead, there is a lot we miss out on. And one thing I have learned in my, you know, 5 years of service so far is that it changes, things change every day. So in every field, wherever you are, you will see that what you are planning for or anticipating today might not be what you tackle tomorrow. So I think we all need to have faith in ourselves and take it as it comes. It will be terrifying on some days. It will be absolutely nerve-wracking on, you know, some days, but there will also be great days. And especially when your capabilities or your potential is recognized. And I think that is exactly what makes this experience so rewarding, that after the lows, there is definitely something that will stand out for you even years later after your service. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.